Good day, everybody. It's February the 12th, and the year is 2022. This will be my take on the movie Mahaan, starring Vikram, Simran, Vikram's real life son playing the on screen son as well, and Bobby Simha playing Vikram's friend and partner, and among others, so many of them, they I'm not familiar with the names, but let's stick to the movie now. And so the movie is based off a quotation by Mahatma Gandhi, and it's the Gandhian teachings are in the backdrop of the plot line or the storyline. Gandhi once, talking about freedom, Gandhi once stated, freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes. Mind you, mistakes. And mistake is entirely different from an offense, right? I'm sure Gandhi never said freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to commit offenses. No, that would be a total just a misinterpretation of what he tried to convey, and a vagary of the message, right? That's said, mistakes, we are all humans, we are fallible beings, we are bound to make mistakes, we learn with our mistakes are often innocent, innocuous, nobody intentionally does something, but then it's not a mistake. But offense, there's a clear distinction. Offenses are, you don't, when you commit an offense, you're breaking the law, right? For instance, you cannot run a red light and the policeman tries to stops you and tries to give you, you know, charge you. You cannot say, come on, Gandhi said, freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to commit a offense. Come on, you cannot say that, right? Gandhi didn't mean that. But in this movie, they're misinterpreting a huge flaw. So the movie is based off on a flawed premise. Let's get that out of our way. To err is human, to forgive is divine. Erring, that's the mistake, not offense. Right? Who said that? English poet Alexander Pope. Uh, this is a bit of digression to illustrate the point on my part. When I was an adolescent, I used to read a lot of literature, and though my adolescent, I have read more Tamil literature books than most grown ups. So I used to read. No, that's never had occasion to go back. But anyways, one of the bygone writer, Jay Gandhan, radical and uh, you know, his views are often radical, uh, and he would always point out the flaws in the society and whatnot. All right. He had a short story. I still remember after all these years. Tavargal Kutrangal Alla. Allah means no, right? Tavargal Kutrangal Alla. Pardon my pronunciation. Lagara, I always mess it up. Tavargal Kutrangal Alla means, what does it mean? It means mist- mistakes are no offenses, or mistakes are never to be considered offenses, or something to that effect. It clearly illustrate my point. Mistakes are, there's a clear distinction between mistake and offense. Let's get to the movie. Now that's my first point. Movie is about in the backdrop. It's all about Gandhian principles. It's in essence, it's about the conflict and clash in a father-son relationship. Son is in his early 20s. Is a police officer. Father is a liquor baron. How this all this happened? Uh, Father played by Vikram, and the son, the role of the son, is played by his real life son, Drew Vikram, also plays on-screen son. I'm sure they enjoyed every bit of acting together, playing the father son on screen as well. And so, how did the father become a liquor baron and son become a police officer? That's the whole plot line. Uh, Vikram in the movie, he's brought up in a very he's from a very conservative, very Gandhian family, so to speak. What it means is that family, there are a lot of people who follow the Gandhian teachings, families, and they inculcate those values in their children. So Vikram's father is a staunch follower of Gandhian principles or teachings, and is protesting against Gandhi. What did Gandhi teach? So among so many other things, his teachings include not to cheat, not to hurt anybody, not to harm anybody, no violence in life, uh, and uh, and also no alcohol in life, which means alcohol does nothing good to human life and society and world. Alcohol just, if anything, it destroys families and lives, and it's a huge problem in a country like India, where good number of people are living at the marginal income level, especially laborers and others. And who is running the the liquor business? It's the government, the state government of Tamil Nadu, and it's owned by the Tamil Nadu government. Why are they doing this? To destroy families? Well, it's a huge revenue garnering industry. So it's and the government wants money. They don't care. Why is the tobacco industry running? They know it's for the last, I guess, you know, decades. They have been, it's bad, causes cancer, whatnot, all that. But lobbies, money, government gets money. So government, does it work for the welfare of the people? No. They want the votes, but they don't care what happens to the people. They work for the upper echelons in the elite society, where who the class that the elite class that funnels money to for them to get elected by molding the people's perception with media power. So they work for the elite society. People, forgotten. Democracy, every 5 years you have democracy. You cast your ballot and kiss goodbye to your democracy, and wait for another 5 years, or in some countries 4 years, right? Wait for 4 or 5 years to get your democracy. You have democracy just for one day. Cast your ballot, kiss goodbye to your democracy. You have no power over anything that government does, unless, let's not get into that. So now that said, that all that is in the backdrop of the plot, the storyline or the plot line. So Vikram, uh, conservative family, as an adolescent, uh, he joins the wayward kids or undesirable kids who are doing questionable things. And though he's a timid kid or whatever, he's with them, he's in their company, so they're gambling, card game, and some of them even taking alcoholic beverage, uh, and he's watching on, but he's not doing it, but he's together with them. And something happens, and his friend from a willy-nilly family. Uh, his father is a distiller. He sells alcohol, and his other friend is from another family, uh, uh, a loose character, right? But Vikram is from this rigidly orthodox family that follows Gandhian teachings. He's being caught in the act, gambling, and he's being severely, harshly punished by his father, and in the end, the father, of course, a loving, caring father, he begs his son in a pleading voice, solemnly and sincerely, please, will you make this pledge that you will never ever consume alcohol in your life, keeping in line with Gandhian teachings? And the little boy, adolescent, says, "Sure, father," with pleading and with with tears. He says, "I will never ever consume alcohol in my life. That's a promise." Vikram lives his life with this promise until he turns 40. He's married to Simran, talented actress. No two ways about it. She plays the role so well. Uh, far She looks so better now as a middle-aged woman, uh, as opposed to the time she played the glamour roles as a young woman. She looks very dignified as a middle-aged middle-class woman, looking very respectable, and she pulls it off. That's Simran. So he's married to Simran. He turns 40. Simran has to go somewhere out of town to attend to some business. So she says, "You know what? I'll be away for the day. I'll return in the evening. But, go ahead, celebrate your birthday, but I'll join you or whatever in the evening." And she goes away with her son. Vikram goes, "Voila, this is my day." Because throughout, he feels like he had to do things just to please everybody, and he was not being himself. He was not being free. He just was things were thrusted upon him as appropriate behavior by his father, by his family. So he had to, for their approval, for the societal approval, he had to conform to a certain code of conduct, which he feels like he's being overburdened with. That's bound to happen when you don't your the principles you decide to follow has to become part of your personality only when you voluntarily and take certain ideas with conviction that you will follow them or you will not go against them. Then it remains with you throughout. It becomes your very nature of your character, your personality. But when it's thrusted upon by others, family, society, people tend to stray sometimes. So that happens to our screen hero Vikram. So what happens? He goes on his birthday, 40th birthday. Wife is away, son is away. He goes. He buys some funky clothes, uh, may be considered inappropriate with his teaching profession. Dress up funky, goes to a gambling center. He loves card game. He was good at the game when he was an adolescent. He plays card, wins money, gambling. And then he runs into his childhood friend whose father was a distiller. Now he also has turned a distiller, this guy. He's serving alcohol. He says, and he doesn't want to, but he said, "What the heck? I have to be carefree at least for one day." Liquor. And then he has a son, is still a friend. Turns out the son is one of Vikram's ex students. So he gets close to Vikram. He's invited end of the day without going home. He gets drunk and he stays overnight at his friend's house. Next morning he comes home. Vikram's wife Simran is distraught. Husband gone missing overnight. He's not here, and she's totally distraught. She's so relieved to see her husband, but getting close, she realizes quickly her husband has consumed alcohol. And then what happens? Argument escalates and all hell breaks loose, and she's a very strong woman, stubborn with her values, and she says, "I cannot live with a person like you just broke our values, family values. I cannot leave my son here." And she takes her son and leaves. Family breaks up. Her father and brother all take off. They're all part of it. They look at Vikram like he's the most despicable creature on planet Earth, and they walk away. And those characters, father, the grandfather and the uncle, they all poison the child's mind. So Vikram's son grows up to be Dhruv Vikram. He has a totally biased perception of his father Vikram, whom he never had occasion to see from his early adolescent. Now he's in his, let's say, mid 20s. Of course, Dhruv Vikram looks, in my view, he looks a little like a teenager, but he's going to be fine. But Though he may be in his mid 20s, he looks like he's late teen, right? Uh, he can work on that. That said, he comes off as a psychotic character. But what happens in the interim when Vikram leaves, wife and child, he having nowhere to go, he joins his friend, uh, stays with him, turns help him with his business acumen, turns his liquor business into a, a some kind of liquor cartel, you know, acquires the monopoly with his business acumen. Now becomes the business is flourishing and doing so well. Vikram is a liquor baron. The only disconcerting thing, the way they are showing, they could have shown slick. Now these guys are rich, more like corporate environment, a liquor baron, but he's putting on some clothes that outfits that he may think it looks good on him, but it just he's trying to stay with the times. Those slim fit drain pipe pants doesn't look good on you know his body. You have to wear something that suits your body and looks, and good clothes, but he looks so unkempt, beard is like the hair and everything. I don't know why that unkempt untidy look with the shirt is all. Anyway, it looks it was a little disconcerting watching him that way, because rich guys, even if you're a liquor baron, you don't look like that. But the parts where he's playing the helping this liquor business grow and all that, becoming a liquor baron, so to speak, reminds me of the old Al Pacino movie Scarface. To cut to the chase, in the interval scene, Vikram's son enters. Weird entry, I would say bizarre. Usually, when they introduce the hero in Tamil movies, they have this introduction, the grandeur, background score, all that, some silly stuff, beating up 10 people from and emerging from a corner, taking off sunglasses with background score. All that stupid things are not here. But this is the other extreme. I don't know the cultural significance, some kind of temple ritual. I know they throw all kinds of paint on people, not paint, some kind of powder. North Indians, some raki or something they do. Uh, but not familiar with the I don't know the significance of it. Some kind of South Indian temple, some kind of devil dancing kind of thing. Vikram's son comes and does that thing like a psychotic character, and Vikram is also doing that, and with his and the son comes, father son reunion after how many years? After 3 years, supposed to be an emotionally overwhelming scene. You know what? He comes like a psychotic character dancing. He says, "Hey, don't you remember me?" And Vikram says, "Do I look familiar?" "Yeah, but," and he says, I'm your son." "Oh, really? Oh, happy." What a bland. Anyway, that's so many scenes are there. The director's fault, not the actor's fault. Actors are doing their job to the utmost best, right? Director should have paid attention. The screenplay could have been made to look, reflect life on screen. You know, Cinema is an art form. Art has to reflect life. So that's that. So many other scenes, right? Granted, it's an action thriller also. Vikram metamorphoses into a gangster in order to ward off the enemies in the liquor industries. All that is there. The son is psychotic, undercover police officer. He wants to destroy his father's entire. He wants to prove something. He has this enmity or hatred towards his father uh, from childhood, because his idea is mind is poisoned by the mother's family, and even the mother to a degree, although she's a good woman, uh, his mind is totally biased. Cut to the chase. Movie could have been better. It's not the cast and crew excellent, but director could have paid attention. To begin with, To misinterpret Gandhi's quotation, freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes, that in itself is totally uh, erroneous, because mistakes, they are taking offenses as mistakes are different from offenses, right? On that note, I'll conclude this. Thank you for listening to this.